You've been told that a great business, once it achieves market dominance, is almost impossible to unseat. That a company with an insurmountable lead, immense resources, and a powerful decades-old reputation is, for all intents and purposes, invincible. But I have spent my life studying not just success, but the terrifyingly predictable ways in which empires crumble. And I can tell you that the most dangerous moment for a king is not when a new challenger appears. It is when the king, blinded by a long history of easy victories, forgets what it means to truly compete. This is the story of Intel. For decades, Intel was the undisputed king of the computer world. Its microprocessors, powered by the famous Intel Inside campaign, were the beating heart of nearly every personal computer on the planet. Its name was synonymous with innovation and performance. Its market share was a monopoly. Its moat seemed unassailably wide. Most people looked at Intel's dominance and saw a permanent empire. They saw a company that was, by all accounts, too big to fail, too powerful to be challenged. But you are not most people. You are a student of worldly wisdom, and you must see that beneath the surface of this seemingly invincible fortress, a silent, insidious force was at work. A force that was slowly but surely beginning to erode its moat from the inside out. Intel's downfall was not a sudden military defeat. It was a slow, agonizing, and entirely self-inflicted decline. It was a tragedy born from a lethal combination of a profound case of the man with a hammer syndrome, a catastrophic failure to recognize the quiet but relentless forces of moat erosion, and a crippling case of path dependence that locked the company into a past that no longer existed. It is a story that proves that the most beautiful, most powerful hammer in the world is worthless if the world around you no longer has any nails. And it is a cautionary tale that holds the key to understanding why even the greatest empires can lose their way. You have been told that a great company's success is a testament to its singular focus, that its world-class expertise in one area is an unassailable advantage. And for decades, this was undeniably true for Intel. Its core competency, its hammer, was designing and manufacturing the most powerful microprocessors in the world. And for decades, the world was a universe full of nails. The personal computer market was a massive, growing ocean of opportunity, and Intel's hammer was the only tool a person needed to dominate it. But as I have often warned, the great danger of the man with a hammer syndrome is that it can blind you to a world that is no longer full of nails. Most people looked at Intel's continued dominance in the PC market and saw a clear pattern of strength. They saw a company that was, by all accounts, too good at its core business to be challenged. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker. And you must see that while Intel was busy perfecting its hammer, the world was quietly but profoundly changing. The next great frontier in computing was not the desktop, it was mobile. While Intel was focused on making its x86 processors faster and more powerful for PCs, a different kind of hammer-the-arm architecture was quietly conquering the new, emerging world of smartphones and tablets. These chips were not about raw power, they were about efficiency. They were about low power consumption, and they were crucially designed for a world where a user wanted to go an entire day without charging their device. Intel, with its decades of expertise in high-power desktop chips, had a catastrophic case of the man with a hammer syndrome. It saw the new mobile market not as a new frontier to be conquered, but as a secondary, less powerful, and less important market. It looked at the mobile world and saw a toy market that didn't need its powerful, high-margin chips. It fundamentally misunderstood the value proposition. Its expertise became a prison. Its legacy processes and its entire organizational culture, which was built around the pursuit of raw performance, made it almost impossible to adapt to the new low-power world. The very thing that made Intel a king in one era made it a spectator in the next. This is a timeless and brutal lesson. The world is not static. And your most brilliant, most powerful hammer, once a source of unassailable strength, can become a source of catastrophic blindness if you are not relentlessly vigilant to the subtle shifts in the world around you. You have been told that a great business has a Moat sustainable competitive advantage that protects it from rivals. For decades, Intel's moat was built on a simple but profound foundation: Moore's Law. Intel's ability to consistently produce faster, more powerful chips was the engine of the entire PC industry. Its lead in manufacturing technology was so great that it seemed impossible for any competitor to ever catch up. This was a classic and seemingly impenetrable moat. Most people looked at this massive technological lead and believed it was a permanent state of affairs. They saw a moat built on science and engineering, and they assumed it would last forever. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker. And you must see that even the deepest, most fortified moat can be eroded by forces that are quiet, relentless, and often go unnoticed until it is too late. Intel's moat began to erode not because a competitor suddenly built a faster chip. It began to erode because the nature of the industry was changing. The rise of outsourcing. While Intel was doubling down on its massive and massively expensive internal manufacturing facilities, fabs, a new competitor, TSMC, was perfecting the art of building a foundry, a manufacturing service that could build chips for anyone. This created a new and far more flexible model for chip design. A company like ARM, for example, didn't have to spend tens of billions of dollars on a factory. It could simply design a chip and have TSMC build it. This quietly but fundamentally changed the rules of the game. The inversion of value. In the old world, the most valuable part of the chip business was manufacturing. In the new world, as manufacturing became commoditized by foundries like TSMC, the most valuable part of the business shifted to the design and architecture of the chip. Intel's decades-long advantage in manufacturing began to matter less and less. The slowing of Moore's Law. The physical limits of shrinking transistors began to become a real and undeniable reality. The pace of Intel's technological advantage began to slow down. The free lunch of Moore's Law was ending, and the company's moat, which was built on the assumption of a perpetual technological lead, began to weaken. This is the brutal lesson of moat erosion. A moat is not a static thing. It is a living, breathing entity that must be constantly maintained, updated, and reevaluated in the face of a changing world. A moat that protects you from the past can leave you profoundly exposed to the future. And for Intel, the relentless pursuit of its old manufacturing-centric model blinded it to the fact that its greatest, most valuable moat was slowly but surely being replaced by a new, more powerful one. You have been told that a great company's legacy is a testament to its long-term vision, that its history, its culture, and its deeply ingrained processes are the bedrock of its enduring success. And in many ways, this is true. But I have learned that a long history, when combined with a powerful institutional imperative, can create a profound and often fatal prison known as path dependence. Path dependence is the psychological and organizational tendency to continue a course of action because it is what you have always done, even when a more rational or profitable path presents itself. For Intel, its long history of dominance in PC manufacturing and design had created a path so deeply worn, so ingrained in its corporate DNA, that it was almost impossible to walk away from it. Most people look at this and see a company that is being loyal to its core competency. They see a company that is being prudent and disciplined. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker. And you must see that Intel's decades-long commitment to its IDM, integrated device manufacturer, model the idea that it must both design and manufacture its own chips was not a virtue. It was a prison. Think about the incentives. Intel had invested tens of billions of dollars in building the world's most advanced chip factories, fabs. The entire culture, the entire bonus structure, the entire sense of identity was built on this model. To walk away from it, to admit that the new world of outsourcing, using a foundry like TSMC, was superior, would have been an act of profound intellectual humility. It would have meant admitting that their most cherished, most expensive, most identity-defining asset was, in the new world, a liability. The path dependence created a catastrophic psychological denial. Instead of seeing TSMC and the foundry model as an opportunity to be exploited, Intel saw it as a threat to be dismissed. They spent years trying to maintain their old model, a model that was becoming increasingly brittle and inefficient, while their competitors, unburdened by this legacy, were seizing the future. This is a timeless and brutal lesson. The world is not static, and your most brilliant, most powerful asset from one era can become a profound liability in the next if you are unable to let go of your past successes. The discipline to change, to adapt, and to walk away from a path that is no longer serving you is the ultimate test of a durable, long-term enterprise. You have been told that a great business builds a strong ecosystem web of customers, suppliers, and partners that creates a powerful interlocking advantage. For decades, Intel's ecosystem was one of the strongest in the world. Its partnership with Microsoft, the famous Wintel duopoly, was the bedrock of the entire personal computer industry. Most people looked at this powerful ecosystem and believed it was an unassailable fortress. They saw a symbiotic relationship that would last forever. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker. And you must see that an ecosystem, when built on a foundation of a single outdated technology, can collapse just as dramatically as the technology itself. Intel's ecosystem began to collapse not because of a single catastrophic event, but because the foundational assumptions of the system were changing. The inversion of value. In the old world, Intel was the most powerful player in the ecosystem. Its technology was the primary driver of innovation, and its lead in manufacturing was a source of unassailable strength. But in the new world, as the power shifted to mobile devices and cloud computing, the value inverted. The new king was the software, the app, and the user experience. The hardware, once the center of the universe, became a commodity. The rise of new ecosystems. While Intel was focused on its legacy PC ecosystem, entirely new and far more powerful ecosystems were emerging. Apple, with its integrated hardware and software, and Google, with its Android platform, were building ecosystems that were not only more innovative, but were also, critically, more aligned with the new world of mobile computing. These new ecosystems were not just competing with Intel, they were making Intel's entire model irrelevant. The loss of the Intel Inside magic. For decades, the Intel Inside sticker was a symbol of quality, performance, and innovation. But in the new world of mobile, where the chip was hidden inside a smartphone, and the user's experience was defined by the apps and the software, the Intel Inside magic began to fade. The customer no longer cared about the chip. They cared about the experience. This is a brutal lesson of a failing ecosystem. A system that is built on an outdated IDA in this case, the idea that the PC is the center of the computing universe, will inevitably be replaced by a system that is built on a new, more powerful, and more relevant idea. And for Intel, the most painful lesson of all was that the very ecosystem that had made it a king for decades was the very thing that locked it into a past that no longer existed. The company's long history, its powerful partnerships, and its decades of success all became a powerful anchor, preventing it from sailing into a new, more promising future. You have now seen the full, painful arc of Intel's decline. You've witnessed the curse of the man with a hammer syndrome, where a brilliant expertise became a prison. You've seen the silent, relentless force of Moat Erosion that rendered its core advantage irrelevant. You've seen the catastrophic consequences of path dependence, where a long history of success became a fatal anchor. Most people look at this story and see a simple narrative of a big company that got out-innovated. They see a single cause, a single mistake, a single moment where the company fell behind. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker, and you must conduct the autopsy not just of a company's performance, but of a profound systems failure. You must see that Intel's downfall was a perfect negative Lollapalooza effect, a terrifying confluence of multiple powerful forces, both internal and external, that converged to create an era of profound stagnation and decline. Let us conduct the autopsy of this fallen king. What was the DNA of its self-inflicted wounds? The man with a hammer syndrome. Intel's singular focus on high-power PC chips blinded it to the new low-power world of mobile computing. Its expertise became a prison, preventing it from adapting to a world that no longer had nails for its hammer. The moat erosion. The company failed to recognize that its most valuable advantage, its manufacturing lead, was being quietly commoditized by the rise of foundries like TSMC. The moat that protected it from the past left it profoundly exposed to the future. Path dependence. The company's long history of success with its IDM model created a profound psychological and organizational resistance to change. The immense investment in its own factories became a source of paralysis, locking it into a past that no longer existed. Psychological denial. For too long, the leadership and large segments of the company remained in a state of psychological denial, rationalizing away the threats from new mobile players and the new foundry model, believing their core business was unassailable. So what is the ultimate Munger-esque lesson from this multi-decade corporate tragedy? What is the wisdom you must extract? It is this: the most dangerous enemy of a king is not another king. It is the king's own refusal to see that the rules of the game have changed. The story of Intel is a timeless lesson that the most dangerous risks are not the ones you can see on a battlefield. They are the ones that are hidden in plain sight, in the flawed psychology of a company that is too in love with its own past success to recognize the forces of change. The most beautiful, most powerful hammer in the world is worthless if the world around you no longer has any nails. But this is not just a story about a company. It's a story about you. You have now seen the full, painful story of Intel's decline. You have seen how a once unbeatable giant was undone not by a sudden blow, but by a slow, agonizing, and entirely self-inflicted process. You have witnessed the insidious dangers of the man with a hammer syndrome, the relentless force of moat erosion, and the suffocating prison of path dependence. Most people will watch this and think, that's a fascinating story about a chip company. They will treat it as a piece of business history, an entertaining but distant tale about Intel executives, about a technological shift that happened long ago. They will feel a moment of interest, but then they will go back to their own lives and change nothing. They believe the story has nothing to do with them. But you are not most people. You are a rational thinker. You are a student of systems, and you must see this story for what it truly is, a mirror. Intel's downfall is not of them. It is a metaphor for you, your own career, your own business, your own life. The same destructive forces that almost crippled the technology titan are at work in your own world right now. Are you in your career or business a victim of the man with a hammer syndrome? Are your most cherished skills and expertise the hammer that brought you success in the past binding you to a new world that no longer has nails? Are you so committed to a long-held path or an old way of doing things that you are trapped by path dependence, unable to make the painful but necessary pivot toward the future? Is your personal or professional moat your reputation, your business model, your core advantage lowly but surely being eroded by quiet, relentless forces of change that you are too comfortable to notice? Are you, in some part of your life, in a state of psychological denial, rationalizing away uncomfortable truths or emerging threats because confronting them would mean challenging your past successes or current identity? This is the final brutal lesson of the Intel story. Its ultimate stumble was not about technology. It was about the profound challenge of human and organizational adaptation. It was about the courage to break free from self-imposed prisons built from past successes and deeply ingrained habits. So, this is the choice you face not once in a lifetime, but every single morning. Will you be a king who, in their overconfidence, forgets how to truly compete? Will you cling to a past that no longer serves the future? Or will you have the intellectual humility to question your own hammer, to see the world as it is changing, to let go of old paths, and to rebuild your moat in a way that protects you from the future, not just the past? Most people choose the comfort of the familiar, It's safe. It's what they know. But you must choose the harder, more uncomfortable path of relentless self-examination and courageous adaptation. It is the only path that leads to durable, long-term success and a life of genuine intellectual freedom in a world that never, ever stops changing. This disciplined commitment to adaptation, to seeing reality as it is and not as you wish it were, is the ultimate goal of a worldly wise thinker. And helping you forge this very discipline is the core mission of my work here at Think Like Munger. If this deep dive into the cautionary tale of Intel has provided you with value, please show your support by liking this video. To continue this journey with us, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. You'll be joining a community of rational thinkers committed to a life of continuous learning. As always, check the description for a link to our free Top 5 Mental Models checklist. Now, I invite you to be intellectually honest. In the comments below, what is one hammer in your own life or career that you might need to fundamentally question or let go of? Thank you for thinking with me.